Ahoy there, me hearties. This be Captain Silverhook, and you're listening to the Two Old Pirates podcast. Set sail for an open sea of stories, tales, and some really crazy stuff. I expect you to like and subscribe, lest you be walking the plank. Ha ha ha!
Welcome to podcast 52. Once again, it's Vinny.
52.
Vinny and the Wolfman. We're just hanging out, and we've decided to go ahead and bring you a new episode. Now, the first episode when we came back, I was telling Vinny, it showed your love. There was 139 views so far, and for some people that's not a lot, but to me, I think that's awesome stuff. And this last one, I guess I got greedy, thinking our next episode would be around the same, and we're almost at 100, but not quite at 100. So
don't worry about the numbers.
I know.
Don't worry about the numbers.
I know.
By the way, if you want to catch Two Old Pirates episodes podcast as they come out, when you click subscribe, there's a little bell next to it. If you click the bell, you'll be sent a push notification on your phone or mobile device whenever we upload something. So you'll be the first to know whenever we upload something new. So if you are subscribed, consider clicking that bell. That way you'll never miss anything from us. We upload on a pretty regular basis, on a pretty regular schedule.
Well, I mean, besides the 6-month sabbatical that I
besides the sabbatical.
Before the whole divorce thing where I took a sabbatical. But yeah, we're back. We're going to be doing this every single week. Okay, so we were, we had lunch and we just talked about life and stuff. And then we're like, dude, we do this every single time. We never have like a formula where we sit down and say, this is what we're going to do. So
we used to sometimes.
Yeah. But some of these other podcasts that blow up and have like 10,000 listens and stuff. I mean, they just talk about sex or drugs or something, and they're cursing all throughout and stuff. And I'm all like, I don't want to go in that route. So we try to give you something that is kind of funny and also informative, and we don't try to always deal with just the serious stuff, but we can. But so we decided we were just riffing and talking today, and one of the most beloved movies of like the last 30 years is Forrest Gump.
He's been obsessed with this all day. Ever since I got here, he has not shut up about Forrest Gump and the possibility
of what we could do with this.
Of a Forrest Gump 2.
So, yes. Forrest Gump came out in 1994, was the number one movie of the year. Everybody has seen it at least once. It's a magical story about how...
I'm Forrest Gump.
How a man who's just below the level on the IQ level of normal has all these like magical happenings, going to Alabama, going to Vietnam, the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, meeting Richard Nixon, and meeting Elvis, all the things in the movie and stuff. And there had always been talk about having a part 2, but Tom Hanks said he didn't want to get typecast as Forrest Gump, so they've never done it. But Hanks is getting older. It's been almost 30 years since the last one came out, so they could do something literally from when the first one came out. And that one was supposed to end in the early 80s when basically what Jenny had passed away from was AIDS. And at that time they said it's a virus, we don't know what it is and stuff. So, it just shows him with little Forrest at the end. And then as we had lunch, we talked about it. And then we got back to the house and we talked about it some more. I was like, man, there's so many things that have happened that...
It's been 40 years in Forrest Gump's time.
Yeah, in Forrest Gump time that he could have caught up to, and he could have been somehow magically up with those people and stuff. Some of the things that we were talking about were just really not appropriate.
Yeah, I have some written down right here if you'd like to give Forrest Gump's insight onto... Little Caesar's Hot and Ready pizzas.
I can't believe it. Little Caesar used to come in 2 pizzas at a time, and they were like $10, and it was pizza. And then now they're known as Hot and Ready, kind of like Jenny back in the 60s with all those boys. She liked a lot of man, Jenny.
What would Forrest have to say about Reebok's Pump It Up shoes with the things on the tongues?
For the young people out there that don't know about Reebok Pump It Up, they were a famous basketball shoe that you could go and pump up the tongue, and it would make the whole shoe get tight around your feet, and you could jump higher. So he would be able to jump over a lot of athletic men and be able to dunk that basketball.
Speaking out of character here, was there ever any science behind those shoes making you jump higher?
No, but I owned them. I bought it. I bought a pair. Bought a pair. I wish I still had them and stuff. They probably would be worth something.
They probably would. It's a very pop culture thing. Okay.
Are you going to the touchy one?
Yeah, I'm going to the touchy one.
This is a touchy one, guys.
What would happen if Forrest Gump was destined to be on one of the flights on September 11th?
What came to my mind, and I'm not going to burn in hell, I don't think, but what came to my mind is that he was seated in his plane seat, and he's like, I've never been on one of these big aeroplanes, and this will be so easy, and this will be so nice, and he's like looking out the window, and then his stomach starts acting up, and he's all like, oh my God, my lactose intolerance is kicking in. I'm going to shit myself. So the bathrooms, if you remember him with the Dr. Peppers, I must have drank me about 15 Dr. Peppers, and he can't hold them. So I can imagine him running off the plane and getting back into the airport and barely making it to the bathroom, and then he misses his plane, and then he's like, man, that was a close one. I was almost on one of those big jumbo jets that went into the big buildings.
That's all I have to say about that.
That's all I have to say about that. So, yeah, that would have been sad if he was involved with 9/11 by getting off the plane. I would have taken those terrorists down. That's why.
But yeah, he's been talking about this.
I would have got my Flexolac ping pong paddle and would have beat them to death. There's so many things you can do with Forrest, and he's like, man, we're gonna get banned.
I kept telling him, like, dude, you can't do this on YouTube. So. But no, Eric is like, no, this is funny, and I haven't seen. He has been laughing so hard at some of these. Like whenever we went out to eat, and we had hamburgers or whatever, and we were just like riffing on this about Forrest Gump 2. He just kept coming up with other things, and some of them we really can't talk about. Okay, stop there. Well, we had another idea that was actually not offensive. And
now, I want to put this out here. We are not trying to offend anybody of British descent, anybody of Irish or Scottish descent, anybody who is from England or the United Kingdom. It's just the differences between America and England and some of the way we pronounce things. And we just want to go through some things about how there's differences, and not necessarily that America's better, but that we have changed things over time to where it just sounds better.
It's the evolution of language in a segment that we like to call English versus English.
Yes. All right, so we're going to go down and talk about a couple words that just, if you were to say them like an H-E-B or a store or stuff, people would like look at you kind of crazy. And like one of the first ones would be this one. If you had a baked potato and you had to wrap it in something, in the United States we would call it
aluminum foil.
Aluminum foil. And what do the British call it?
Aluminium.
Aluminium.
There's an extra I in there.
You wrap it in aluminium foil.
I still say tin foil.
So I want you guys to go to H-E-B and sit there and say, pardon me, do you have any aluminium? And the guy's going to be like,
where might I find the aluminium foil?
And they're going to think there's something wrong with you.
They're going to say, why are you saying it that way? That's wrong.
And then if you have a car, you might park it in your
garage.
But in England, they sometimes call it a
garage.
The garage.
So those are words that are basically
the same spelling and everything,
but they're phonetically different.
Yes. So then we dove deeper into the land of English versus English, and we came up with some of these beauties.
Yeah, so you don't necessarily call somebody on the phone.
You ring them up.
You ring them up. Almost like if you go to a cash register and you get rung up there.
In the old days, we used to have rotary phones, and so they would say that would be the ring, right? Yeah. Or the phone would ring when you ring them up, right? So call them up, it rings. So there's all different. Yeah. We just say, just call me.
Ring me later.
Ring me up later.
Ring me later, mate.
Bring over your aluminium, and we'll put it in the garage.
Another one that I actually sometimes find myself saying is talking about like a garbage can or a trash can, like the kinds you take to the street or whatever. They call them a bin.
Yes. Now we like a bin to me as an American is like a big thing out in the back. Like there's a big bin that you throw it in.
Yeah. But those are called skips.
Where?
In England.
Okay, we're talking about us now, all right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the people that won the revolution.
But I'm saying what you would call a bin, they would call a skip. Right. So that's their word for that.
And what's a skip to us? it's a verb for what you do to a rock on the water. Or if you're having a good time and you skip. Okay, so a trash can, if I tell my students in class, hey, throw it away in the trash, they would probably freak out if I said, excuse me, pick up that aluminium and throw it in the bin. They'd be like, did he hit his head?
They'd be like, first of all, what is aluminium? Secondly, bin?
Yeah. What you've been talking about, Dr. DeWolf.
Been there, done that. So they also don't say TV in Europe.
So if you were to sit there and say, here in America, hey, let's see what's on the television or TV, they would say,
what's on the telly?
what's on the telly?
What's on the BBC?
BBC 1, BBC 2, BBC 3, BBC 4. And you'd sit there and what would you see on the telly? You'd see an aluminium commercial.
You'd see garage door repair.
So another thing is here, instead of having to take the stairs, a lot of large buildings have
elevators.
But over there, they call it a
lift.
A lift. Now here, if somebody says lift, what are we thinking?
Lift as in to like pick something up.
You lift it, or if you get a lift from someone, you get a
ride.
Okay, so that's a ride on the elevator. You get a lift on the elevator, but over there you just get a lift on the lift.
You get a lift on the lift. This next one you really hate. It's the one for vacation.
Oh, I've hated this ever since I was a little kid. I'm sorry if you're British and you hear this, but we have definite just divisions on this word. All right? When it's summer, we go on vacation. You guys go on
holiday.
No! A holiday is Christmas. A holiday is Thanksgiving. You don't have that. A holiday is, Halloween.
Yeah.
That's a holiday. It's like on a calendar that says holiday. Okay? Vacation is you're relaxing, you're getting away, but over there, they go on holiday. I'd hear about the beaches, and like John Lennon would go on holiday over in Spain for a couple of weeks. I'm all like, no, you want a vacation. No, it's a holiday. I'm like, why is it so special, those 2 weeks? Is it like as good as Christmas? Is it as good as Easter? Thanksgiving, which you don't have again.
If it's winter time and it's cold out,
I would put on a sweater.
But it's not called that in England. It's called a jumper.
And here, a jumper is an amazing 90s song by Third Eye Blind.
I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. You could cut ties with all the lies that you've been living in. And if you do not want to see me again, I would understand. I would understand. Scene. There we go.
It's the same thing. It's literally, if you turn on the radio, same thing.
That's duet and all.
If you're drunk.
Here's a word that we have to preface by saying this is literally British.
This is literally British slang.
This is British slang.
It is not sexually offensive. It is
Yes,
not
we're not
homophobic. Spoiler, not homophobic.
Yeah.
Here,
you guys might guess what we're hitting on.
People smoke something called cigarettes here. And over in England, in certain locations, it's still pronounced as a
fag.
Fag. So suffix, I think there's a suffix in England. I do believe there's a suffix in England. But anyway, so yeah, the cigarette is much more. No, there's a Sussex too, but I think there's a suffix. I'm not shitting you, dude. Oh, never mind. It's Suffolk.
You idiot.
I thought there was a suffix England. That's gonna be cut. I'm not gonna look this bad. I'm not gonna look this bad.
French fries. I know that French fries is a markedly American term. It's a very weird.
Well, we changed it a couple years back.
Freedom fries.
To freedom fries because we don't like
freedom.
those French folks, those frogs.
I like how your shirt is the French national flag.
That's not funny. I mean, they fought in a lot of wars. But, I don't see anybody else. I've never understood about why people say that about the French, about World War II, when he kicked everybody's ass. Yeah. So everybody in Europe, other than like Switzerland and Sweden and Spain and stuff, everybody else should all have this as their flag then, because everybody capitulated. Everybody just gave up besides England, and they only held on because we were like giving them money and warships and stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm not even that French.
History buff. So what we call French fries are called chips. over in England. I'm sure you guys probably know
chips.
that. Fish and chips is basically fish with French fries. But then chips, like potato chips, are not
known as
crisps.
crisps.
Which is weird because here in the United States, a potato chip is something that is specifically cut from a potato, whereas a potato crisp is something that's made from potato starches or potato slurry. So here's one that drives Eric crazy. Cookie.
Yeah, when I'm thinking about a cookie, I'm thinking of like Chips Ahoy, Oreos, Nutter Butters, stuff like that. But over in jolly old England, they don't call them cookies, they call them
Biscuits.
which makes no sense because a biscuit here is something that you pop and it open up and it scares you. Then you put it on the tin and you go ahead and bake it inside and you open up and you put jelly or peanut butter or butter on and stuff and you bake a biscuit.
Well, those are called scones in England. What we would call a biscuit is called a scone.
Now, I've had scones before and they had like blueberry in it. It's not like a blueberry biscuit. It's kind of almost like a triangle.
That's the closest that we got. Closest approximation.
Well, they just need to step up their biscuit game.
So what about trunk?
Yeah, so trunk on a car, you open it up, you get your tire out, you get your air pump, stuff like that. What do they call it?
A boot.
A boot. Now, if you've ever met anybody from Canada, if they say about, they say a boot.
A boot.
It's a boot. 3 o'clock. Yeah. A boot is what they call a trunk on a car in England. And so you have to get your tire out of the boot. And what's a boot to us?
Something you wear.
Something we kick in your ass, America.
That's right, America.
Toby Keith said so.
And then...
Put up.
So, getting back on subject, the rear end of a car is called a boot. The front end, what we would call a hood...
That we open up to go and check your oil and stuff, is a...
That's a bonnet.
A bonnet. And what do we use bonnets for?
Keeping the sun out of your
Well, it's also
eyes.
what you put on a baby's head.
Yeah.
A baby bonnet, right? But a bonnet to them is where you check your oil, not the fontanelle.
Just check your engine. I got to pop the bonnet. The next one is the most infamous one of all, soccer.
It's soccer, people. I know that if you go to any other country in the world, they call it
Football.
football. F-U-T-B-O-L, right? It's soccer.
Footy.
It's soccer. And we're never going to be good at it. I mean, I don't care. Yeah, women's team has won championships and stuff like that, but the men's team has never really accomplished much. And it's never taken off as the number one sport here. I mean, you've always had baseball and football and basketball and track and tennis and golf. And soccer is very fun for a lot of people when they're little, and then they stop playing when they get older and stuff. And then we have these other sports that you can just play year-round. So, yeah, it's always been soccer. It always will be soccer. So for the rest of the world, literally, outside of us, it is football.
Yeah.
To us, it's all that matters is that soccer. But we also use miles and inches and stuff, and they use the metric system.
Yeah.
So we're still right.
Yeah.
I
we
mean,
use the
everything
imperial
that we
system.
do is correct.
We use our freedom unit. Well, that's a good segue talking about English versus English, because I know that there is one of those 100% true Eric stories that Eric loves to tell so much, and it's actually related to English versus English.
I'll turn the hat around to go ahead and because I'm like a what? Remember Over the Top with Arnold Schwarzenegger? No, with Sylvester Stallone. He's arm wrestling. He always goes in like this, and he's all like, "When I turn the hat around, I'm like a machine." You never saw that?
I know, I haven't seen that.
So anyways, to make a long story short, speaking with the English dialect and stuff like that, English versus English, when I was in high school, I was dating a girl, and her mom was originally from England. Her dad had been stationed over in England. They met young, and they got married and came back, and they had a family and stuff. But her mom was still very, very British. I mean, they had Sunday morning, lunches and all this other, Sunday with vinegar on it and all this weird stuff that I wasn't used to. But one day I went over there and I was visiting and stuff, and I was going to leave, and I was supposed to come back the next day, and we were going to go to a movie or something. And so as I'm leaving the doorway, the mother said, "Eric, when will you be knocking her up tomorrow?" And I'm just this young guy. I'm all like, "What?" And she's all, "What?" And I was like, "What'd you say?" She's all, "When will you be knocking her up?" And I'm like, I'm not gonna have a baby." And the dad came out from behind, and he could see my face. And he's all like, "Oh Lord, what happened?" He was like a West Texas kind of guy and stuff. He had that twangy stuff, and I was all like, "Can you?" And so the mother said, "All I did was ask him when he was going to knock up our, up." I'm not going to say the girl's name, but when he was going to knock her up. And then he's all, "Oh, babe, you can't say stuff like that. I've been telling you for all these years and stuff. That means pregnancy." And then I was all like, "Yeah." And so she said, "Well, no, I meant knock her up. You come and you knock at the door. You knock her up." And so that's a British term, also, knock up. That we mean
means something way different than just French fries and chips.
Yeah, we mean ours is more along the 9 months and 18 years of commitment.
Yeah.
So I was not going to knock her up. I was going to come by and knock on the door. So, all right. So
that's knocking up.
So since we were talking English versus English, and we've been talking about this, and we didn't know how far we should go with it, but one of our favorite things was
like back in the day, around the turn of the millennium, there was a little movie called Austin Powers International Man of Mystery.
That came out in 97. I believe it was 97.
97.
And I kind of liked that. But when I went to go see the second one, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Yeah, that was 99.
That was one of the first movies I ever fell out of a chair in a movie theater. I laughed so hard. There was just so many scenes in that just the comedy writing was perfect. So if you don't like that type of comedy, if you don't like Dumb and Dumber, Three Stooges, Austin Powers, just that slapstick, Blazing Saddles. If you don't like that type of, then you're not going to like this part of the podcast. But this stuff is just awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and then, of course, there was, we covered the first two, and then the third movie was Goldmember.
Right.
And the second movie...
The smell of it, the texture of it. I love
gold. So the second movie, the first movie did decently, but the second one was a smash hit in theaters. Mm-hmm. I think you said it had a budget of only around $15-20 million.
Yeah, something like that. It made over 200.
Made over 200.
That's just in the U.S. alone. I'm not talking about worldwide. It made hundreds, maybe $300 or $400 million worldwide.
Yeah, and then Goldmember did about the same thing,
right,
but the slightly higher budget because the second movie made so much money.
Right.
But that was one of the things is I remember in an interview when they were talking to Mike Myers about where can Austin Powers go, how far are you willing to take this? I remember him saying that he just wanted to keep making Austin Powers movies. He said as long as this is something that people want to see, that is profitable, that works for the studio.
Well, where did you get the idea from originally?
Well, it's James Bond, of course.
He was ripping off all the old James Bond thing. James Bond was supposed to be a very sophisticated, handsome ladies man who could get any woman that he wanted. Look at Austin Powers with those teeth and the glasses and stuff, but he had
the mojo.
He had the mojo, baby.
But even if you look at the names of his movies, The Spy Who Shagged Me is, of course, a parody of The Spy Who Loved Me. Goldmember is, of course, a parody of Goldfinger. So he was going, they were just basically taking 007 movies and then parodizing the names for the next Austin Power movie. And they were basically just basing it around that. What can we make as a joke from this movie, and what kind of movie can we make centered around that joke?
And something that's very, very popular right now that people forget because it was so long ago. It was, 23 years ago that the movie came out. So some of you younger people that might watch it, Part 2 takes place in Starbucks headquarters, where number 2 tells him that he invested in a small coffee company called Starbucks. But even in 1999, when this was released, it was semi-popular, but it's not as huge as it is today.
Yeah.
Where it showed that this evil corporation was actually running Starbucks, which an evil corporation might actually be running Starbucks.
Yeah, Dr. Evil might actually be there for real. I'll have my double mocha cappuccino or whatever. But so that was one of the things is that Mike Myers said he wanted to just keep making Austin Powers movies. And I think past a certain point, maybe they would have overstayed their welcome. But after making only 3 and with them being so successful, you would have thought that there would have been some momentum that was being picked up, with the Austin Powers trilogy now, make it a quadrilogy, make it whatever the 5 version of trilogy is, to keep making movies until it did taper off and then, give the character a retirement. But Austin Powers kept climbing and rising in popularity, and then Mike Myers just disappeared. He did The Love Guru, he had a couple of guest appearances in other movies, and then
that's been it.
That's it. He's fallen off the face. He's just living off those Shrek residuals.
Do you remember some of the funny names from the Austin Power movies, like
Ivana Hump-a-Lot?
Yeah, Ivana Hump-a-Lot, and Do you remember? Okay, you even brought it up, Mustafa.
Yeah. I did not immediately recognize him as being Will Ferrell.
It was an actor that wore a fez hat and
sunglasses,
and if you watch the movie, it's Will Ferrell.
Yeah, I did not immediately know that was Will Ferrell because of the hat and glasses.
And Mini-Me.
Vern Troyer.
One of the funniest moments in any movie I've ever seen is when they're in outer space and they're fighting.
Yeah.
And then Austin Powers is laid out and he's all like,
peace,
and then
he kicks him right in the face.
Fat bastard, get in my
belly.
I want my baby back, ribs. I want my baby back, Chili's baby back ribs. I mean, just there were so many funny parts in that.
Dr. Evil, you get your mojo, you keep your money, but I get your baby.
And then Frau Bissina.
Yeah, Frau Bissina.
She couldn't do anything without screaming.
Bring in the clown!
Bring in the clown!
He's exactly like you in every way except 1/8 your size.
And then Scott, just not evil enough.
just one calorie.
Scoot on down.
Look at me, I'm zippy long stockings. Would you like to have a suckle of my zipple? Yeah.
Ooh, frisky, are we? Yeah. Come here.
That's when
you slept with fat bastard. I did what I had to do.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, she was not a great actress. She's never been a great actress.
That was when she put the little tracking bug up his ass or whatever. Yeah, I remember that.
Anyways.
And then, of course, Goldmember was obsessed with eating his skin flakes, which was disgusting. He just...
Salty.
It's so gross.
Bong in the blades, pipe in a crate.
Yeah. Austin Powers Faja.
I'm Austin Powers Faja.
His what? His Furger?
His Faja.
Faja.
The Faja. You know the mother, the Faja, or the father.
Yeah, Dad. Dad is Faja.
I'm telling you, if you haven't watched those movies, you need to watch.
Otherwise, we're just quoting random things at you, and you have no idea what we're talking about. I actually own the whole trilogy on a DVD.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, so we can just watch it.
Maybe we should get a pizza, and then we should watch
one of them for old time's sake.
Preparations A through J didn't work out the way I wanted them to, but Preparation H is working out fine. On the whole, I would say it feels pretty good.
Why don't you call it Operation Wang Chung?
I don't get it, Scotty. Yes, Preparation H on the whole should feel good. Well, I'm glad that we're coming around.
Would you like some chocolate ass cream?
So anyways, from the Two Old Pirates, this is a short one. It's only going to be about 30 minutes long. Yeah. It's Eric.
I'm Vinny.
And we hope that you enjoyed our English versus English, our Forrest Gump 2 possibilities.
Yeah.
And...
talking about Memory Lane with Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. There's somebody I got to get in touch with and forgive.
He's all. I sold myself. He's all. Let's see if I can do it. There's someone I got to get in touch with. Myself. Sorry, I farted. So yes, I'm immature.
Yeah.
So anyways, we hope that you enjoy this podcast and that you'll go ahead and share. Remember, click the little bitty bell so that you can go ahead and get a notification as soon as we go ahead and make a new one. And we'll be back to you real soon with our next one.
Mm-hmm. So take care, everyone. And
I didn't have to drink any what?
Blumenflacker.
I did not have to drink the Blumenflacker because nobody made a comment to make me have to drink the Blumenflacker.
Not yet. Not yet.
Or have they? Blumenflacker.
Peace out.
See you guys later. Take it easy.